Welcome back to the channel. My name is Sergey and I hope you are doing fine. Today I have something interesting for you. We will do review of scene from Unreal Engine Marketplace, which called Mansion, and I hope it can be interesting option how to show content from Marketplace on a regular basis and share some of my knowledge regarding shaders, meshes, materials, and everything else. So let's go to our scene. This is the scene on which we'll take a look today, which called Post-Apocalyptic Mansion Albert Manor, which cost this amount of money. So we can take a look on it. Overall, all content from Decal pretty good quality, especially which done by Clinton. So this is the reason why I wanted to do review on it. So it's super good organized. So you have blueprints, materials, meshes, everything is super clean. So we can take a look on amount of meshes. So let's take a look on static mesh. So you'll have pretty a lot of meshes. Modular one, unique one, something can be very good for dressing, some modularity stuff. So again, pretty cool. I think if you will spend the time, you can assemble pretty interesting environment using these blueprints. As you see, walls done by different blueprints assemblies, so you can open any of it. And let's go to viewport, and you can see what is part of the blueprint. So this is curtains, this is wall, which is modeled by, I think, 4 meters, something like that. Interior cube, which is interior cube mesh to create something. Window, which done with shader. This is another one, copy, and another curtain. So this is what you will find. Let's take a look on mesh. So this is a mesh. Let me change the light. So, and it's done by 2 materials. It's brick tileable material and trim material. So it's pretty cool, and what I especially like in this environment, it's overall very cool done shaders. So let's go to shader of this wall. Let's take a brick one, and you see it's pretty complex material, but this is the point. I will try to describe you how it works, so we can take a look on it. So usually when you start reading the material, of course you need to start from the left, and you see that we have mix map for blending. So this is our default material, albedo secondary. So we can understand that albedo will be desaturated, power, and height lerp. So we have two materials or 2 textures, which using vertex painting for blending, using mix map for break up vertex painting. So you see it's connected with multiply, with add, and then you can option to blend it. And you're blending, in this case, only albedo. So it's not complex material blend, it's only albedo blending in this case. In case of false, as we see, nothing happens, we're just using albedo secondary. And material has 2 connections. One is bump offset, and another one is parallax. Parallax can be pretty expensive and not looking nice all the time. So bump offset, it's something like cheap parallax, and if you want a little bit more expensive parallax, you can use proper parallax occlusion. And everything connected to text quart, everything packed in roughness, metalness, ambient occlusion. Then you can use ambient occlusion if you want. Also, you have control of intensity of normal map, or you're using default flat normal if you want. And everything what's happened here using as a base material. So this is base tileable material, which we take a look what's happening next. Next, we have vertex color, which is done by custom function from Decagon, and it's using your initial material and blending it with overall basic vertex painting, and then I think it's separating channel. So we open the function and we can take a look what's happening here. So when we're taking our initial material, we're breaking initial material and taking base color and using overlay function in Unreal to overlay dirt on top of it. And for metallic will be 0, emissive color will be 0 because it's dirt, so it sounds right. And then for blending, what we have absolute world position, so we can use world space for texture. This is our mix map, cheap contrast, and then we're taking our vertex color. In this case, you can function and you can choose which color it will be. In this case, it will be blue. Then we're inverting it. We're inverting vertex color because by default, all your vertices are white. And when you're blending with dirt, you want to add your dirt, not remove it. So in this case, you're inverting your vertex painting because in this case, it will be by default black. And you will be adding it. Otherwise, I have seen this in shaders sometimes, that because of not using inverting, everything like super dirty from start, and this is not what you want. And then you're blending by using multiply with your texture. So this give you pretty cool result. So blend it, and then, so this is true. We can use world aligned dirt overlay. So in this case, we're taking dirt and overlaying dirt in different directions because it's world aligned. And also we're using gradients. This is, I'm not sure why used. This is, and I'm not sure, yeah, it's not used. Maybe it was for testing, but you see it's not using, so this we can even delete in this case, for example. Maybe it was some experiments, so this is not needed. But this is cool in Unreal that if you are not using this node, it's not counted. So dirt color, overlay, alpha, roughness. So truth be told, like node can look a little bit like complex, but in reality, it's pretty simple. It's just overlaying your world align dirt in different directions. Also taking position of the normal. That's why, yeah, so in this case, you will have properly aligned textures. So yeah. Maybe I want to think how I can show you in a start preview node. So if we'll have a cube, you see what's happened. So because how this node done here and what's happening here, you have this nice blending, which are world aligned. You can change tiling. So for blending dirt in world space, it's pretty cool. So that's what's happening in this master material. So first, use dirt painted. We're using this. Then we're using world aligned dirt overlay. We're using this. Then we're going next and adding vines. Vines using alpha channel of vertex painting and creating very cool effect of vines and texture. So let me show you. So again, it's world aligned texture, world aligned normal, and we're blending just two of these on top of our material, and I will show you the result. It's looking pretty cool. And the last one, it's debris, which using mask from vertex painting. Again, you can decide which vertex painting in this shader will be using your something for dirt, so for debris, sorry. And we have debris. Let's take a look what debris do. So we have this texture of debris, roughness, occlusion, ambient, and height in this case. Oh, in this case, green is height. Interesting. Yeah, it's height. Yeah, for example, in this case, it's back this way that it's not metal. Roughness, metalness, it's not metalness in this case. It's used for blending, so then we see, so we make material. We also get material from initial one, so if we had some opacity, we'll have the same one. And then we're blending again with our initial material. So mostly you're just blending your initial debris with initial material with some of control, so nothing too complex. And then we'll also have up mask, so we can control upper position. Yeah, we can use upper position of the effect, so you can have it only on upper part, not on the left, right, bottom. So I will start showing you. So mostly I wanted to show you like shaders are pretty cool. This is what I especially, as I said, like in Decagon scenes, because shaders are pretty interesting. So now we know what we can do with this one. So let's start painting. I will go to Mesh Paint, and let's start doing some painting. First, we'll start painting with red channel. And you see you have dirt or more clean option of the material. Because as we remember, and if we'll check the roughness is not changing because we remember in shader, it's only affecting base color. So let's switch to green channel. Also, and we see it's becoming darker or brighter. And you can create darker or lighter effect. Then blue. In this case, blue not working, as I see. Yep, nothing happens because if I will open the shader, we remember it was debris, and obviously in this channel, debris is not used. Let's check. Ambient occlusion used, dirt. And we see use debris is not used and use dirt painted not used. But we have vines, and vines is the most cool one. So we will go to alpha, and here we need to say that our alpha is 0. And you see, now I can paint vines on top of this. You see, very cool. This is super, super cool. So this is how done vertex painting in the scene. Like, as I said, pretty cool one. We can also take a look what else we have in master materials here. Let's go to this brick. I used Ctrl B to go to our masters, and we see that we have masters for glass, because this is a different material. This one pretty complex one. So it's not really complex. Glass material overall can be very hard sometimes. This one is not super hard, but still it will take a while to take a look on that one. So let's start from first material. This is just chimney smoke, particle material. Close. This is material not super complex. As I see, to blend in. Also, it has movement from simple grass wind, so that's how you can create some of movable fabric in the scene. I do not see. Oh, I think curtains using this one, right? Let me check. Curtains using this one. No, they're using Master, which is, I think, bigger. Yeah, this we will discuss in a second. So I don't know which here is using this close master, so we can skip it for a while. Crow, this is crow effect, so it just crow with opacity. Again, nothing too complex. Curtains, which haven't been used, so mostly I think we can even delete this material. Then we have some decals materials, which are super cool in the scene. So we have our differ decal, translucent, debuffer, translucent, color, normal, roughness. And what we have in this decal. So we have albedo texture, which can be overlaid by scratches, which using grunge mask. So how it works, you are taking your decal and using overlay of scratches on top of it. This gives you opportunity to create a variation. Then you have basis roughness, which is just basis roughness. And then you have normal, and opacity here a little bit affected by scratches. So you see, so mostly how it works that you have this grunge map, which can be affected on top of your decal. And this is super cool. That gives you opportunity to create a couple of variation out of one decal. So again, I don't know which one using this material, because I think these fonts here using more complex one. But let's try to find. Okay, this one using which material? Tall writing. So you see, it's another one. I'm feeling. What we can do? We can go to materials, instances, and we have decal footprints. Which material is used? It's using, yeah, for example, footprints. So let me go to some place here. Let me place. So this is footprints, very nice. And you see here you can control opacity and scratches. So right now this one not using scratches, but let's say we want to use scratches. And now we can go to scratches opacity power. And you see affecting it's very weak. Yeah, now you see it a little bit better. In this case, not working so nice. But I think you get the idea. So what else we can do with this decal? We have very big control of opacity. So let's go to opacity. So first opacity control is, okay, in any case where you go into this one. So a lot of things happening here. So what does this part do? This is pretty cool thing, which I have seen a lot of cases that people do not like, that decals has problems with projection. So for example, this one, and if I understand correctly, you see, when we're affecting it this way, nothing happens. And usually, if you have been using decals in Unreal, you have seen that this kind of action usually creating seams on the side. So if you want to avoid it, you can do this part. So you see, disable backface projection. So you see, in any case, it's done this way, that decal will not be projected on the sides. So this is done by this part of the logic. But here you can choose, like, have a double-sided decal or one-sided decal, because you see if in base color it's obviously visible. I'll place decal here, start using projection. You see, you start seeing like additional projections. So you can ask why it's not used in all decals, because this is not the super cheapest things to do. That's why it's not used all the time. But if you want to have decals which affecting your decals only from upper part, and you do not want to rescale them all the time, this is your way to go. So this is another very cool trick which you can use in the scene. So what else we have? We have decal writings. Writings, more complex decal in this case, because you have these textures. So what's happening here? You also have alpha control. You see you have option for more advanced alpha control. And why it's needed in this scenes this way, because these decals, if you will start using them, you will see their projection very interesting way. See, it's not how like classical decals works. Usually they have much more problems with projections and everything here looking super nice. This is because of this opacity control. So you have transitions, you have control of the alpha, also have the same approach with textures. The main difference that in this case we're using masking. So where is this masking used? So we have mask channel, red channel, and then it's used with basic color. So mostly how this decal works is that you do not have default color. Yeah, you have multiply over base color. You're taking your base color in this case not even used. You have only this albedo texture as a mask, and then you're overwriting it with tinting, and that's how you have a color of this decal. So mostly it's like a mask which you can control and can create cool things. So shader, as I was saying, super cool. Edge decal. Edge decal, just material masked. You have this atlas of decals which you can use on connections, on corners. So also you have normals, a little bit control of roughness and everything. I do not know where we have here. It's here. If I will delete it, where it used. Okay, that one not even used. This one used in this material. If I will delete you, it used in pillars. So let's open. So yeah, you see, this used for pillars. So that's how you can use mesh decals. You can create a damaged effect. Is this one? Okay, it's separate meshes, so it's used blueprint pillar. So this is blueprint pillar. So yeah, you can see how it's used. It's placed on the corners. So this is another super good trick for a lot of environment artists. So when you're working on your environment and you need to create a more interesting, something a little bit more interesting happening on the corner, you can use this kind of edge decal as a even separate mesh. It's not really critical, and you will see it's giving you very good results. So another very good, nice trick. Let's go back to shaders because they're too good. So yeah, I think we can take a look on this master. Also can take a look on glass. I don't want to spend too much time just on shaders because it's still not the like complete breakdown of the scene. I want just to show some of the tricks. And we see a lot of similar stuff. Again, vines, debris, directional dirt. The main difference happening here. So you have much more control in initial material. You have emissive control. So mostly setup of the initial basic material much bigger. It's not really much different. It's just more different controls. If you have been working on Unreal like here and there, you have been familiar with this kind of thing. So you have subsurface, texture, you have desert opacity if you want to have some good blending which you can control. You have fuzzy shading in the shader if you want, which very nice for fabrics and anything. So, and then you have another material which is material number 2, and then you have blending here. So mostly this is the most default material here that you have. So how it works, you have base material which have very strong setup, then you have another material which a little bit easier setup but still have some unique material. Then you have blending, which using mix map for blending, and you have this in alpha. Then you have different effects on top of it. It's vertical dirt, it's directional dirt, and vines and debris, and that's how it gives you pretty cool result. By the way, let's try to find something what have debris. I'm feeling this material should have some debris. Do you have debris material? Yes, you have debris, so let's try to, I don't remember which channel it should be, so we can try it. This is debris. Yes, it's looking like debris. Or it's just dirt. Yeah, this is debris. Debris working pretty powerful. And you have very cool stuff. So I think I showed how to work. So Yeah, let's very fast take a look on glass, because like roof, I think it's just parallax or tessellation. Post-processor material of sharpening. Sky material, I think it's just, yeah, uh, image which converted to. It's not really so simple. It's very interesting material again, that you have like different blending in this material. So it's, oh, it's waiting. Do it has animation? I think it has animation. Yeah, you see why shaders so complex, because you can do this and you can have speed. So you see you have this kind of transition. That's like, it's very interesting in this shader. So it will be a very big topic to say like what's happening here. That's why I do not want to do it. So, but main magic happenings here that you have same texture using two different UVs, and because of that they're a little bit different. And because of the movement of both of them, you see both of them are moving with a little bit of distortion done by direction and different additional magic. You have this very cool transition. In games, sometimes it's done even more complex. If I remember correctly, in Naughty Dog GDC talk about skies, they have been discussing how they have been doing this. This is mostly how we are doing this in Unreal, and it's a little bit simpler, but the idea is the same. It's giving you opportunity to create a little bit of movement in static sky, which can be very cool in dynamic scenes, because it's creating some fake transition. But so you think that sky is moving, but it's not. It just like panoramic texture in some way, but a little bit more complicated. Um, Roof, almost the same material again. Directional dirt, waterline, dirt painted. Sector, second texture set. Okay, so what happening on second? Yeah, you see, as I was saying, almost the same, just all unnecessary stuff removed and a little bit blending done a little bit differently, but the same story as it was before. And the last one, as I was promising, glass. Let's take a look what's happening on the glass. We have initial material and we have blending. So let's take a look what we have in initial material. We have fake reflection based on normal. So that's how you can do with your glass. So mostly you're doing reflection, transform vector, reflection vector, and using cube map, something like that. And that give you and then you're blending this in base color, and this give you opportunity to create fake interior. So it's not really visible here, but in some environments it can look very nice. That sometimes you need to fake reflections of sky in base color, and it's creating pretty cool look. In this case, it's not so visible, but I can promise you it's very good idea to do this way sometimes. Then we have opacity control, which based on Fresnel, I think. Does it use Fresnel? It's using bump offset. No Fresnel. We're just blending. Yeah, so we have cracks. So cracks affecting opacity. And then we have normal. By default, it's flatten. If it's not flatten, you are using, in this case, broken windows normal. It's creating this effect. Then flatness. And again, everything connected to some tiling. And bump offset used only here to create some roughness. And yeah, mostly that's what's happening here. Let's take a look on the next one. This is dirt. Dirt is just tileable texture, which we're blending using alpha channel. This gives you opportunity to create a dirty glass. So this is again a pretty cool approach. So you're creating clean, easy to control material of the glass. Then you're adding grunge on top of it. You can use, in some cases, it can be used mask. In this case, it's using vertex painting, because why not? It's working pretty nice. So that's what you will, have if you will, from materials perspective. From Mesh's perspective, I was saying there are a lot of cool modularity stuff, everything like properly organized, a lot of particles, a lot of props. Of course, everything's super nice from the base color perspective. Roughness, again, looking very solid, proper decals, proper shaders, everything PBR friendly. I don't see any big problems in that. I was sure there will be nothing like that. Metallic, no gray metallic. Almost. So from metallic perspective, it's also nice. Also, we have a simple landscape material here. Well, how simple? Not the most complex one. Material layers of different tilables, which are blended, and on top of it, creating grass meshes. So this is, if you're interested, you can take a functions by itself. If I will go to foliage system here, it will take a lot of time. So that's one I will skip. Modular things, what we have from the textures. Oh, bordered window, it's, so this is tileable, at least it looks like tileable. No, it's trim, I think. Trim, atlas, something like that. Because it has unique normal for different parts of the woods. This is trim parts. Let's overall take a look what we have from texture perspective. So textures, we have decals, tileable, unique utility. Utility, we have our skies. We have some blending masks, overlay, HDR, basic textures, and something for particles. Unique textures, we have a lot of baked one. So for example, doors, it's completely unique one. Done in a good way. I think this is something, yes, that one looking a little bit strange. Overall, in the end, it's looking pretty interesting, but that's what like can be improved. Tileable textures, bark, clothes, debris. Pretty a lot of tileable textures, everything packed with RMA, using TX prefix at start. Even trim, if you want to take a look on trim. There are stone trim here. And wooden trim, right? Yes, this is wooden trim. Oh, I was right. It was trim. Used for different assets. So, and I'm almost sure, yeah. So if we'll go, for example, to this wall, let's take a look what's done with the trim. You see a couple of things here done with the trim. So if you want to take a look on the good examples of trim usage, I think this is also very nice scene to take a look on it. And decals, not really much, but still you have some decals. So of course, there are a lot of cameras here with very nice shots and usage of the camera, looking very, very nice. Blueprints, we have fog cards, we have props assembled in blueprints, we have pillars which using edge decal, a lot of modularity stuff which is using decals. We have torches which assembled also in prefabs, so it will be much more comfortable. So when this is again a great example, if you have torch, yeah, you have a mesh of torch, you have particles, and you have light. You can do these kind of things even more complex, but this is a great example how you can organize your stuff. Also, we have different fog cards, which you can use for creating some light at the background. You see, it's fog cards, so that's how you can create depth of field. Sorry, not depth of field, but overall depth in your location. If you cannot control fog properly, because in a lot of cases you can't. So you can create, you see, by using these fog cards, I created very good illusion of depth in the image, which is much more stronger. So there are a bunch of them which you can use. Blueprints foliage, I think not too much, but yeah, not too much, but all very useful. It's stoned, bushes, fallen trees. Landscape, we discussed. Materials, we discussed. Meshes, we discussed. All of meshes mostly done very, very correctly in a good way. A lot of good modularity. Particles, not too much, just chimney, but I think this is not what you're interested in this scene. Very fast, let's take a look on last thing, it's post processor. and also maybe some world settings can be useful for you. So let's first take a look on the light. So light here done movable. So I can rotate the sky. You see it's done in a movable way. If you will migrate this project to Nanite, I think you can do it very, very flexible. I think let's take a look on the sky. Skylight using fixed HDRI, so lighting will be pretty uniform and done in a good way. Deep shadow, lower hemisphere a little bit lighten up. So what does it do? You see it's doing this fake, a little bit additional lighting from the background. Can be sometimes very good fake. This is fakey, but very nice things to do. Distance field ambient occlusion. Yeah, pretty basic stuff, nothing too complex in this way. So yeah, as I was saying before, let's go to post-processor. And step by step, let's take a look on it. Bloom, not very strong. Exposure, after exposure. So small tweakage of exposure is possible. It's a little bit dynamic, but not crazy. A little bit of chromatic aberration, no dirt mask, no flange flare, image effects, small vignetting, and grain jitter. Again, I think if you will migrate the scene to Unreal 5, you can use new jitter, grain jitter, and it will be much more cool. A small depth of field, color balance. So we have a little bit moved. That's not what we want to do. A little bit moved color balance to a little bit warmer color and small tinting. Then let's go to color correction. Okay, it's not used. Interesting. So maybe it was used before, but after that it wasn't turned on. So maybe it was idea to use it, or maybe it's done. But as I see right now, everything done by Loot. So sorry, ignore my comment that it was used. No, it wasn't. So everything in the scene done by this loot. So also in the scene you will have two loots, which you can use for your environment if you want, which creating a little bit two different. Also have slope, also have toy, nothing crazy, almost default dimensions. So if I remember correctly, yeah, so you see almost default slope and toy. Sharpen post-processor, very cool thing, sometimes you can use it. So screenshot from Unreal 4 has problems that they're a little bit blurry sometimes, so you can write a post-processor which is doing sharpening. I do not know right now how it's visible, but when you're moving it, it's doing your image a little bit sharper, and this can be a very good trick to do your image sharpen in Unreal. Ambient occlusion, almost default one. Do not forget to check these advanced settings. You see fade out distance increased, because otherwise in far distance ambient occlusion in Unreal 5 or in Unreal 4, sorry, not looking very nice. Quality changed, and some settings a little bit changed. Global illumination 0, because lighting here is dynamic, so we do not have any GI. Everything here what we have is faked. Reflections, screen space reflections, quality 100, intensity 100, roughness 0.8 almost, and that mostly all. So you see nothing crazy happening in color grading on post-processor settings, pretty default. So everything what is interesting here happening in shaders and content. So yeah, also the scene have two lighting scenarios or two levels of lighting. I do not remember, let me check levels first. Okay, no, it do not have lighting scenarios, it has two different maps of lighting. So let's go to fire map and night demonstration. I will not save any of my changes. And this is night scene, which looking also pretty cool. So light reworked, I think some content a little bit reworked. So you also can take a look on the scene from the lighting perspective. I think it's look pretty interesting. So what's happening in post-processor here? Again, nothing used. Yeah, it just using a little bit different lookout table. So lighting reworked and using this loot and creating pretty cool feeling of the environment. So yeah, I think on this point, in my opinion, I showed a lot, and you can done your own decision. In my opinion, seems very cool. There are a lot of content. It's very high quality. I will strongly recommend it for relighting, for learning modularity, for learning complex shaders, and maybe assemble something in a similar way from the exterior. I think if you have brick building, this kit can be pretty useful to assemble something like London brick style. I think this can work because architecture pretty similar and it's done on very high quality. So yeah, I think this can be very useful scene. And on that point, I will call it done. I hope it was interesting. If you like this kind of review of the scenes, feel free to write in the comment. And I hope you will have a great time, and I will see you later. Bye bye.